everyone. Today is going to be the conclusion of this particular series I started a couple of weeks ago. Basically, I'm just going to wrap it up with how you store the data you impute here in at the backend. Whereas, guys, I'm using Firebase as the backend. It handles my backend for me, my database also for me. So the logic behind this is being performed by Firebase, so I don't have to worry about that. I mean, I have a video that spoke about Firebase and how wonderful and easy it is to help you with your application and all that. So today we're just basically going to be running through how we save data into Firebase. I mean, this is not the first time I'm doing this, like using Firebase as the database. So think I have a video that talk explicitly on that part. So you may just go down the videos I have on my YouTube channel, and I'm sure you're going to see it right there. So today we're going to be starting up with the sign up page, which is the first thing you do when you launch an application. If you don't have an account with that application, it asks you to sign up with them, and that way you have your data in their database. So whenever you come, you just have to just do it right away. You don't have to. I mean, whenever you just come, it just pretty much does everything for you. So we're gonna start here by going straight by navigating straight to the sign up page, and we impute this to data. This input that's provided for us, so that way we can log in. And when you log in, when you sign up, basically you have your information in the database. So mind you, you may be wondering that there's no sign up button here, but I already configured this page in a way that if you don't have an input here, you not see the button. So now you're going to see the button when I start typing. So now when I start typing anything, you see the sign up button comes up, right? But now we need to write a program, a line of code, that when you input this data, this line of code instructs, like, links your heart to the database backend, and that way it corresponds, and the message is being sent to the backend, is being stored to the backend, and the Firebase, which is owned by Google, authenticate this information whenever you want to log in, right? So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do right now is to configure. The first thing we need to do right now is to configure how this information is going to be saved at the backend, right? So we go to our sign up button, which is the function we create here. So the first thing, we have to call Firebase, and we call auth method on it, and we call the auth function, we call the method. So the double bracket, open and close bracket, is just a way of calling that function, and we call create user with email and password on that function again. So it's gonna be like this. You create, okay, now it's giving me the option. You create user with email and password. It's a function, sorry, it's a method, remember, so you have to call the method, and you impute what you want, the data you want to use. Like, you're passing in a parameter now, more like an argument. You're passing in a parameter which this method is going to use to carry out the function, right? So username and user password. And mind you, you'll be wondering where I got this from. So it's just right from here. I already declared it here, so I can also copy and paste here, so I don't have to do typing. And afterwards, you have to call another function on it, which is then. Then if this function is called the create user with email and password, use these parameters, then the result you get, we have to put it somewhere, right? So the result is the user, you call the then function del method, which is user credential, and after which, that is the parameter for that. Then you have this. Mind you, this is this is like a callback function, okay? This is like no, sorry, this is a function actually. So it's a function that has another function. So like, it's a callback function, like I earlier said. It's a callback function. And now you have called this You call this. I just want to make sure that my what I'm writing is correct, so I don't have any errors. So you call this, you call that. So it's a function you're calling right now. So the then function, which is a callback function to these two methods. Okay. So what are you going to be? What is the callback function going to be doing? So we want to get the information right, which is what is returning. So what is returning is what we have here, and it's returning user credentials. So now it's returning the whole user credentials, but that is not what we want. A particular thing in that user credential. We just want a particular thing. So we're going to say dot user dot update profile. So we are pointing at this. That is what we're doing here, and it's going to be name. So we are declaring that name is going to be user email. So that is how we want it. Yeah, it's breaking. No, it's okay. Okay, let me finish writing, then I will know why it's having that. Okay. I think the reason why it's in our then function, in our then method, there's supposed to be a function inside. So we're going to wrap everything like this in this bracket. That way our error is gone, right? So while we have that, the next thing we're going to do right now, is also when you remember whenever you have this, you're supposed to also call a catch. You're supposed to catch the error in case there's an error, so you'll be able to know what this error is and you'll be able to know how to correct this error. So we want to use a catch method, and we are passing it inside the catch method, passing in a callback function, the way we did to then also callback a function, and we have a parameter which is the error, and we said, okay, we want to store this error somewhere so that we can reuse it, right? So remember that I already created something here which is called I already created a use state here, so just to save my errors. So I'm going to use this function, this function to update this. Remember use state, how use state works. So you're supposed to use this to update this. So I'm going to call use it here, and I'm going to say error.message. That is the error we're getting, the message in the error. That's what we need. So that way it's going to update this with the value that we have here in the error. So this is all we need to do in a sign up. So when we have this, no, this is not all actually. This is not all. So once we have this set up, so that means that what we are telling our application to do is to make a correspondence with our Firebase database, which we already imported here on this line. So from Firebase itself, because we already installed Firebase. I think the first video or the first series or the second series already installed Firebase. So Firebase, we are calling the Firebase here, and we are calling hot on authentication on that Firebase. So that means go to Firebase, go to authentication in Firebase, then in authentication, go to create users with email and password. Use that method. The parameter we want to use is user email and the user password, right? So when you call that method on Firebase during when we press the sign up button, you're also equally saying, okay, there's supposed to be a response, right? So return that response. So we use a then to get that response, okay? And what we want to get using then is what we want is the user's credentials, right? So we're going to call a callback function inside of the then method and using user credentials as the parameter. So we're now returning user's credential. What we actually want from the user credential is just the update profile. That is what the update we have, which is what we imputed here, right? So we are using it, and it's user's credentials user update profile. I'm going to show you where this user is coming from now. Just hold on. So profile, and then name user. Use the user email address as the name. So that is it. So, and again, if that is an error, we can use catch method to catch the error. We do a callback function inside the catch method, and we use that callback method error message works to update our this error here. So when we have that done, the next thing we're going to do now is this. We're going to say if there's an error, we're going to say if there's an error. If there's an error, then don't do anything, right? But if there's an error, if there's no error, this is what we want to do. If there's no error, if there's no error message, do this. Okay, let me first and foremost, let me do it this way. If there's no error message, go to Firebase, right? Go to Firebase, go to database in Firebase. So it's a method, right? You call the method. But if you don't call the method, it won't answer to you, okay? It won't do what you want it to do. So you're supposed to call the method. So when you call the method, you're going to call a ref, because you're going to the database, right? You want to get something from the database, or you want to update the database, whichever way. So you're not calling the database now. What do you want to do with the database? Go to reference, go to ref. So what are you referencing actually? What are you referencing? Ref here means what are you pointing at? So we are pointing at the users. Mind you, in the database right now, it's very clean. Let me show you. In our database, it's very, very clean. Okay, you know what? Let me just delete it. Delete this. So this is the database actually. So let's check all these things. Let's delete all what we have here. Let's delete it. So in the database now, you can see users is very clean, right? Here is clean. Here is very, very clean. There is nothing, right? So just check it out now. So when we go to, we are referencing on user. We're going to, okay, it's either if there's a user or there's no users, create that user. Whichever way, if there's a user, no, go to that user. So that is what this ref does. You're referencing something. If it's not there, it's going to create it. If it's there, it's not going to create it. It's just going to go into it. So you go into ref user, and you're calling the child of that user. You're calling the child method on that user, and what we are using is UUID. Remember the UUID. You'll be wondering where we get it from. We already imported UUID from UUID, and we already assigned it to another name. You know, so we have it here. So we are putting a UUID. That means that when you create this user in our database, now the child must be a UUID, a unique ID. Give it a unique ID. So it's going to make a child a unique ID. That is the nomenclature it's going to give to the child. And when you get to the child, what we want to set something. That means we want to create something, right? So we use set. And if you want to update, if you want to impute something, you set. If you want to get something, if you want to add something, I think you use add. You know, you can, if you want to know all this functionality, all this method, just go to the documentation of Firebase. You'll see how this functionality is there. So right now we are using a set. We are setting something. We are setting some variables. Okay, so we use set method, and in that set method we are going to use an object. We're going to create an object in that set method, because what we want to set is lot. So we are setting the email and password, right? So we say email. What is the value of the email? User email. Okay, now user email, right? And we'll say password. So user's password, right? Okay, now. So this is what I did when I was doing this. When I was doing the root, I was doing this, and I said, okay, what if by mistake my client or my users just by mistake type in capital letter and they sent it. So now my database registered as, okay, their username maybe is in the mail, but it was written in capital. So if you want to sign in, if you use a small letter, it's not going to allow it to go. It's going to tell you that it's wrong, right? So to avoid that, so what I did is I converted to lowercase. So I think just convert any inputs, whatever it is, to lowercase. Just convert it to lowercase, whichever. So I call that function on it. It's lowercase. I call the function on it, and you can call to uppercase. You can say call to local, anything you want. So I call that function on it. Please down everything to lowercase. So that way, we're able to put that information in our database. So now, what we're going to do now is afterwards, we want to call also there's going to be a response generated, right? So we use then to catch that message. So we're going to call it callback function on now then. I'm going to call the parameters data, right? The data we are getting back. And we'll call the function. And what are we getting back? We're saying that if there's a error message, okay, check the data. If the data is correct, then perfect. But why we are calling a then method on this is because we want to be able to tell the users, okay, what you imputed was perfect, was good, was okay, or it wasn't good, it wasn't okay, something happened, something went wrong. So we want to let them know, we want to interact with them based on the information they gave us. So now we're saying that if there's no error message, that means if your input was perfect, it met all requirements. If it met all the requirements, then do something. What do? Please tell the client, the user, that okay, whatever you did went well, and we appreciate your we appreciate you signing up with us. Blah 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 blah. So I'm gonna say use alert, screen alert, right? Is actually a function. It's a function. So what I want to say is that write the message there. What do you want to tell the client or the user? You want to say account successfully created. Thank you. Your account successfully. Okay, let's say thank you. Your account or a new account was created for you. Okay, thank you. A new account was created for you. So that is what we want to say, right? That is, it only happens when there's no message. When there's no error message, it will happen. When there's an error message, it will not happen. Okay. So okay, now we're going to use a catch method again. We want to catch the error now. So the error will be using a callback function. We are passing in error, and we're saying, okay, what do you want us to do? What do we want it to do? What do you want it to do is that just alert the error straight up. Alert the error. Please just alert me the error, and you can write it this way. Let's just say error. So that's all we need to do there. So this way, our computing is done. Like it's perfectly done. So it's going to send information to the backend. But now we want to be able to clear this input page once that is done. So how do we do that? We just say, remember that user email. We're going to say set user email. Set user email to empty, right? And set user password to empty too. To empty. That's all you need to do. That is all you need to do right there. And afterwards, when you do this, you're going to realize that your information is going to be sent to the backend. So let's try now. So let's say say Tony at gmail.com, and I said so I said sign up. Thank you. A new account was created for you. You see? Okay, now let's go to our database and check if this account was actually really created. Remember, I told you it's going to create the user wherever the reference. We're referencing the user, right? Created a user, and this is the user, and this is the unique ID. You see the unique ID, and you see the email, see the password. Perfect. We're able to generate data in our database. That is perfect. And let's go to authentication. Who signed in? Look at it right here. And Firebase always creates a user ID, UID. Okay, the date, and that's the date created, the date signed in, everything like that. So now all we need to do right now is we've been able to achieve that part, which is excellent, right? So now we want to be able to say now we're signing, right? So let's go back to our login page. Now we need to input the information and go into our account, right? Into somewhere to go into the next page, right? So we go to our login page, and all we need to do basically here is go to our sign in page and the function we created, and we're going to say Also, we call Firebase, and we'll call authentication method, and we call sign in with email and password. And we'll pass in the parameter. Remember, we always have to pass in the parameter we want it to use. So this is this one, because we are telling him to do something, but with what parameters, right? So we need to always remember that. So we already told him that, and the next thing we're going to call a catch if there's an error. Well, we say, why don't we call then? At this point, we really don't need, we are signing in, we don't need it then. I mean, we don't need it already. If it's good, just go straight in. If it's not good, then give us the error. So we're calling an error message, and we say, what's the error? And when you have the error, please set the error here. Put the error here. We want to have the error here. And you say error dot message. Error dot message, right? So after which we're gonna set user email. We're gonna set user email v. We're gonna set it to empty string so that we don't have our information still showing right there. Right? We don't need that. So this is done. So now when we log in, it's gonna give us. Let's even try it. So I said Tony at gmail.com, right? I'll put in the password. Okay, let's refresh this page because it's showing us error message. So Tony at gmail.com 1 2 3 4. It went right. I mean, everything is clear. It looks like, okay, yeah, I think something did happen, right? But it's not taking us to the next page. Yes, because we haven't created the next page, remember? So this is what we're gonna do. Remember that in our app.js, we only have two screens, which is home, which is the login page, and the sign up page. So we need to create a third page, a third screen. I'm gonna call that, let's call it a startup. I'm gonna the same thing we're gonna put here. So startup. Okay, I already put it. Okay, I think I already created it already, but now I'm gonna explain to you how I did it so that it doesn't look like, okay, but you don't even know how you did it. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna clear everything out, and I'm gonna start all over again. So how to start when you have a clean page like this is how you start in React Native, not React. React Native, you have rn fc. Rn is, I always love to get a suggestion. Rn f. If you write e, it's going to export afterwards, but it's going to this one's going to give you export by default, which is what I always love to use. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write here, welcome to the startup page. Control S. So let's try it again. Let's see if it's going to go there. Let's see if our navigation screens and whatever is working, our stack navigation and all that is working. So I'm going to say Tony at gmail.com. And let's see if it's going to work. It should better work. Okay, now you're wondering why is it not going? Why is it not going? We actually left one thing undone, which is in our login page, we didn't tell the sign in button to navigate for us. So what we need to do here is called, we're going to say navigation.navigate, I guess. Navigation.navigate. I think I'm correct to start up. I hope I'm right though. But let's check. I mean, Tony at Gmail. I think I'm right though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I am. Perfect. I'm right. So now we are in a new page, but now we can't even see any content because why? If you look up here, you can see welcome to whatever. So we need to style that so that we can see what it's saying. So how do we style it? Let's give this a style. Because style equals to styles dot, let's say start page. Let's just call it start page. Start page. We did. Okay, hold on. Before that, let me just give this a name to call it this one. Let me say text. So text. So because we have to style it, I just like to style the text too sometimes. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this one trophy. So I'm also gonna do this. Sorry, I'm lazy today. I just don't want to type. I know you guys should just find me for that. So here we're gonna say we're gonna give it a flex of 1. I'm gonna give it a flex of 1. I'm gonna say justify. I'm gonna say justify content. I'm gonna make it in the center so that we can have it in the center, right? So we're gonna say align also. Align item right now. We're gonna use items. I'm gonna say center also. So after which we're gonna say maybe here I'm gonna say text transform. Let's use uppercase, and let's say font weight. Let's give it a 700, and maybe color. Colors.btn. Okay, good. I already imported color. When I start typing it, when I start everything, it's just gonna happen right away. So auto import itself. So what else do we need to do? Okay, sorry guys, I just want to put something here. I just want to put emoji. Yeah, let's put that. So we can welcome to the startup page. So that, having said that, we need to have a button that takes us back to the login page, right? So we're going to create that right now. So I think this is done for now. Let's just leave it like this. So we're going to create a new touchable. We should use touchable opacity. Or touchable opacity, and we have a view. We necessarily don't even have to have a view, but I just love doing that. I think my OCD is just kicking in. Don't mind me, guys. So I'm gonna say back to page, right? So if I save, you see, just normal text, right? So we're gonna style it now to look like a button. I will have just used the normal React Native button, but just for me to have my own style, be able to control 1 or 2 things, I always love to use it this way. I always love to create my own button, and that way, you can actually dynamically make your button functional. I can just want to say, okay, I want to do some styles, some funky styles and all that. But if you use a default one, you may not be able to do that. But I think it's rigid to an extent. There's a limit to how you can actually make things. You can actually make it the way you want to make it. So, but using it this way, it helps you to be able to do 1 or 2 things you want to do on it. So now we're going to say the button. What do we want to do with the button? We want to say, okay, give it a padding before the padding, so we're able to see what we're doing. So let's say background color. I'll give it colors.btn. Okay, so we're going to give it padding horizontal and vertical. We're going to give it padding horizontal. Let's make that one let's make it 10, and say padding vertical. I'll make that, let's say make that 5. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, that's perfect. So now we can say border radius. We can just give that, let's say 3, which is good, right? So now we want to push it away from, so we're going to say margin top 20. Yeah, perfect. So now look at it. You can see the effect is giving me. That's why I love to use touchable opacity. So I can say for the text button, I want to say text transform. I want to use, let's say, capitalize. Yeah, and I'll say the color. Maybe we should leave it that way. Okay, let's say, just say color. I mean, we're just trying things, right? We're just trying things. Color.bgd. Let's see what gives us. Okay, perfect. Not too bad. So maybe you should just give it a font width. Sorry guys, I like styling things. Don't mind me. Prior to this time, I was a motion graphic editor, so don't mind me. I just love to do things stylishly and all that. So when you're a graphic editor, you just want to put so much effects on the things that you do. It's in your DNA, it's in your genes, so you just have to do it in everything you do, right? So now I think we're perfectly okay with this. So but now we have to put your functionality to it. We have to make it do something whenever we click it, right? So what we need to do right now is very simple. We just have to say here, we just say on press, say on press. Now we say, okay, do this. We're gonna say should navigate, right? So we have to put navigation here. So we want it to navigate to somewhere. So we're going to say navigation dot navigate. Don't always forget that, right? Dot navigate. So where is it navigating to? We want it to navigate to home page. So we're going to write home. So let's try. Let's see if it's going to work. So it's saying navigation dot navigate is not a function. Yes, the reason why it's saying that is because when you are declaring navigation here, it's a prop, right? So you're supposed to destructure because it's not a whole. It's not coming. It's coming from this this place, but it's not actually. You're supposed to destructure it when you're using it in every screen. You're supposed to destructure it. So we didn't destructure it right here, so we need to destructure it here, and this is how you destructure it. It's that simple. Like that, as simple as this. So this way is going to work, you see. So now we've been able to achieve that. I think now we're good, right? We are able to log in, right? We're able to log in and put our password and able to see our password and hide it also, and the showing and hide is toggling, we're able to do this, and also we can go to displays and put in and everything, and we get our information sent to the backend database. We can go back to our home page and we can log in, and it takes us to the new page, and we can go back. Perfect, right, guys? This is where we stop today. I mean, this tutorial, I believe, explain explicitly how to create a simple application using a username and password, and you can actually create an account. You can just put a little functionalities. As we already know, we have your keyboard is showing, we have that covered in the previous videos, and you see this text changing as you go out, you click, it changes the instruction what to do. And the first page is telling you hello, welcome back again, like you're here in the app again, welcome back, and it's telling you welcome back. And the next thing you see is sign into your account. Once you start clicking, and whenever you do that, it does that, right? And when you go here, it says hello, sign up to get started, right? When you click, everything went off, right? And this is it. And when you start clicking and you're clicking and it shows this sign up page, we learned how to hide this button so that people just don't keep pressing it and not getting any functionalities out of it, right? So or rather getting bad functionalities out of it, right? So go back to our home page, and when you log in, you go back to your new page. Yeah, I believe this videos, these 3 series videos, was able to explain to you little things about React Native on the app. Like I said, guys, if there's anything you want to ask me, please feel free to ask me. I'm here to answer any questions. I believe we can learn from each other. You ask me questions, or you tell me things I need to do to get better. Anything is welcome. Like I said, I don't see criticism. I don't see anything bad comment. I don't see none of that. All I see is feedbacks, and your feedbacks makes me get better, makes me improve, makes me get, even make me create creative, very informative videos here on my Twitter, on my YouTube handle, and we become great together. So right here and right now, this minute, this moment, this time, this second, I'm going to be calling it off. Thank you so much for your time, for your attention. We'll meet again on the next video. Bye.